by acknowledging that this call is going to be recorded. So just a reminder that the call is recorded. And with that, I guess I'll start off by introducing myself. My name is Jessica Camphy. I am the incoming or the new director at OPDS. I've been here for just shy of 3 weeks at this point, and really excited to be joining the agency at this point in time when there is so much opportunity for us to do really good work in the public defense community. So I'm thankful to be here, and I'm thankful to all of you who are out there in the community day in and day out doing this really important work. In addition to myself being new at OPDS, we also have a new member of our trial division team, Jordan Humpert, and I think Lori Bender was going to introduce him. Lori, did you want to take a minute to introduce Jordan?
Thank you, Jesse. Yes, Jordan Huppert joined us just a few weeks ago. He grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, before attending college at Brevard College in Brevard, North Carolina. Jordan moved to the West Coast to attend law school at the University of Oregon. And after graduating from law school, he clerked for the Honorable Cynthia Carlson of the Lane County Circuit Court before opening his own solo law practice. In 2015, Jordan then joined the Public Defender Services of Lane County, initially as their representative to the Lane County's treatment courts. And then after a brief time, he took on assumed a regular criminal caseload with the PD office. Jordan lives in Eugene with his wife, a high school teacher, and his almost 2-year-old child. In his free time, Jordan is a member of the Legal Geeks, and you can actually Google this, a group which applies real-world law to situations from pop culture. He's an avid fencer and a very novice guitar player. And I can tell you that the trial division is very pleased to have Jordan join the trial division. Jordan, if you want to display yourself visually, you may do so. Thank you.
I have no idea if the camera turned on or not, but hi, everybody.
Thank you, Jordan.
All right, thank you both. The next thing I wanted to talk with folks about is actually this provider call. The provider call started during COVID as a way for us to communicate with the provider community, to share updates from the agency, and to receive information from all of you and to answer your questions in real time. As time has gone on, its usefulness seems to have morphed. We're not getting nearly as many participants and not as many questions as we used to receive. So the agency is looking to ways that we might be able to better communicate with the provider community. And to that end, y'all should see a survey coming out from us soon about what it is that you most benefit from the provider call, and different formats in which you might want to engage with the agency moving forward. So please keep an eye out for that survey that's coming. Our next agenda item is a billing update. This is an agenda item that would typically be done by Ralph Amador, our budget analyst, or our budget director, but Ralph is out of the office this week, and so I am going to be doing it, but I will just be reading you the report that I have from him, which is that as of Tuesday, our processing time was 27 days. And as normal, invoice inquiries outside the submission process should go to accounts payable at opds.state.or.us. And please make sure to include the assigned invoice number and/or case number or CSS number in the subject line. And if you have questions about a particular CSS, please send that request to css@opds.state.or.us. And with that, I'm going to kick it back to Lori. Lori, are you still there to provide an update on the unrepresented?
Yes, I was just locating my mic button. The update on the unrepresented persons is that we now have been utilizing the OJD dashboard to identify persons in various jurisdictions who have been unrepresented for a period of time. The public dashboard has been modified so that the numbers appear to be higher than previously, and there's an explanation behind that the number is currently capturing not only individuals who are unrepresented in a particular jurisdiction and who are in custody on a particular case in that jurisdiction, but it is also capturing individuals who are unrepresented in other jurisdictions and held in another jurisdiction. So we are getting cross-county jurisdictional holds, which is, displaying a higher number of people, even though a person may have counsel in one jurisdiction, but not have counsel in another jurisdiction. So it's kind of skewing the in custody unrepresented person's data in this way. We are still making case assignments from that OJD data dashboard. And so if a person is on the OJD dashboard and is in custody and unrepresented, we are trying to locate counsel for that individual, and we are continuing to make these assignments. We're roughly at 215 case assignments to date for the 158, and the interim billings are coming in. I think at this point, we have closed 20% of the unrepresented persons that we've assigned. So there are still a number of cases that, are continuing to progress through the court system. We also are still implementing the incentive payment program, and that program, this month, we have three new attorneys joining the provider workforce, which we're very happy to have these three new attorneys. Thomas Henniger is picking up a full caseload out in Washington County. The former Judge Costello and Associate Travis, I forget his last name, but are joining the provider community in Klamath Lake County. So we are encouraging providers to identify new attorneys that we can add to the workforce. And we are still entertaining other provider proposals to address the unrepresented persons issue. If you have any questions, you can direct those questions to Shannon Flowers or myself at our OPDS email site addresses. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Speaking of Shannon Flowers, I think she is up next.
I am. Just to talk a little bit about contract reporting, follow-up, and reminders. So sort of first thing that I wanted to address is we know some people have had some difficulty getting to a CSV file that you can submit through the reporting form. If you have that issue, you're getting error messages and are not able to actually get a report through, just email the caseload reporting email address that is you can find on our reporting page on the OPDS website. and we'll get somebody to help you, probably getting on the phone or maybe going back and forth over email to help get you to a point so that you know. And then once you know how to do that and you know the process, it should be hopefully smooth sailing going forward with future reports. We also know that there was a period of time that providers with newly added attorneys to their contracts were unable to submit caseload reports. That problem should be resolved at this point. So if you have trouble like that moving forward, please let us know again via that caseload reporting email address, so that we can make sure that the system is working the way it's supposed to. Then let's see. If you have, so we know that there are situations where since we have split into separate juvenile and criminal contracts now, not everybody who may have taken both criminal and juvenile cases historically continues to do so. So if you have, like, for example, if you have a criminal contract now, but you have some old juvenile cases that you still have open, that you accepted appointment under a previous contract, we still want you to report those, but you would do it in the reporting form. There is an option for non-contract cases, and you would submit your report for those open cases that are not under your current contract that way. Then let's see. We just want people to be aware that you can submit corrected reports. The way the system works is if you submit a new report, it overwrites the one that you previously submitted. So just know that that's how that works. But corrected reports can be submitted and you still use the exact same reporting submission form. The demo that we did for PCRP reporting, I believe back in October, is the recording of that is available on our webpage. If you look on the right-hand side of that page, you'll be able to see the demo recording up there. And then finally, we've gotten some questions about the extraordinary case circumstances and how that column should be used on the reporting form. You have to submit a request to OPDS, and OPDS has to approve that for additional weight to be granted for a particular case for extraordinary case circumstances. And in doing so, you actually need an explanation of the circumstances that make the case extraordinary and require work well beyond the range of work typically required for that type of case. We have a form that should be live within, I think, the next day. We're going to be working on that later this afternoon to make that available to you all. It'll be available on the reporting page. And the thing to know about using that, again, is there are check boxes for attorneys to use as they're filling out that form so that we can track some data around these requests. But checking a box it will not be sufficient to get to an approval. We really need an explanation of what the particular circumstances are. So for example, indicating that you have a client with mental health issues, that's not necessarily extraordinary in and of itself, but that maybe mental health issues are really the reason that the case is extraordinary, and we need some explanation of what that is, what is going on with that particular case or that client that makes the case extraordinary and really, in your view, warrants additional weight for the case. That's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can, or at least try to get you to the person that would be able to answer those questions if anyone has any. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. That brings things back to me with a legislative update. So next week, the legislature is meeting for what's called legislative days, December legislative days, and they're going to be meeting from Wednesday through Friday. For the purpose of OPDS, the important hearings are Wednesday afternoon, when we will be presenting to the General Government Subcommittee of the Emergency Board, and Friday midday, where we will do a brief introduction for the House Judiciary Committee meeting. With regard to the Wednesday afternoon emergency board meeting, the emergency board is how the legislature allocates emergency funds when it's not in session. And you all may recall that we were on their agenda in June and again in September of 2022. At this December e-board meeting, we have 3 items on the agenda. an update report on agency restructuring pursuant to House Bill 5030, a request to rebalance, which means to move funds between agency budget buckets, and a request for $10 million, which is directed toward the unrepresented person crisis. The substance of the hearing will occur in the General Government Subcommittee on Wednesday, with the finalized decision from that committee about our requests or about acceptance of our report occurring at the full emergency board on Friday. Also next Friday, the House Judiciary Committee will be meeting and has invited the agency to introduce me and to talk about the tri-branch work group and also about upcoming bills. And so I'm expecting there will be a presentation from myself as well as from the legislative staff who is running the tri-branch work group, and a presentation from Maylee Browning for OCDLA, along with Amanda Dalton from ODAA. And then the full legislative session is started to begin on January 17th of 2023. I think that is the full updates from the agency that we had hoped to cover with you all. And we do have time today for questions and answer if anybody has questions that they'd like to ask at this time. Okay, not hearing any questions, I will go ahead and close this meeting with a reminder that you all are going to get a survey from the agency about sort of future planning for how we can best communicate with you, as we would like to phase out the provider call and create a format that is more beneficial for everyone. So please keep an eye out for that survey coming your way. Thank you all and have a great rest of your day.